Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty intense, digging into sources that ask a really provocative question right out loud. Why does Antigua love ugly?
Yeah, it's quite a headline, isn't it? And it comes from the heart of a current debate. We're looking mainly at a letter to the editor from Antigua.news.
A really pointed one.
Extremely. It centers on the recent vehicle scandal involving Minister Maria Bird Brown. But, and this is key, our focus isn't really on the scandal's specifics.
No, we're looking at the reaction, how the public discussion around it unfolded.
Exactly. So our mission really is to unpack this cultural pattern the letter describes. How does a call for accountability, which is legitimate?
Right. Completely fair.
How does that just spiral into what the letter calls a circus of hate and personal attacks? We want to understand why citizens, according to these sources, engage in that.
It feels like a very modern problem, but maybe with deep roots. This whole idea of, fact-free debate.
Absolutely. And the sources give us a kind of case study in how political talk can turn toxic fast. It's about that switch from substance to, well, ugliness. Shall we jump in?
Let's do it. So the letter writer actually starts by acknowledging the core issue. They say, look, this scandal does deserve investigation and accountability.
They grant that premise. People have a right to know how public money is used. No question.
But then almost immediately, they say the tone shifted dramatically. It went somewhere else entirely.
Yeah, and the letter zeroes in on how it shifted. It wasn't just a gradual drift. It was a pivot away from facts towards what they bluntly call ugliness.
Specifically targeting the minister, Maria Bird Brown.
Right. A campaign of character assassination. That's the phrase used. It stopped being about the vehicles, the policy, the money trail.
And became about her.
Exactly. About her personally. Tearing her down.
And the reasons cited in the sources for these attacks are, well, they're pretty thin, aren't they?
They really are. The letter suggests people rush to tear down our own people before the truth even has a chance to breathe.
Based on what? Her name. Connections, not evidence.
Precisely. It's based on her last name or her connection to power, as the source puts it. It's not about proven wrongdoing, at least not at that stage. It's more like seizing an opportunity.
And evidence gets completely sidelined.
Totally. It's replaced by speculation and social media gossip being recycled as breaking news.
Yeah.
It's a direct quote, and it's powerful.
So it's not just reading gossip, it's actively spreading it, participating.
Yes. And this leads to maybe the most striking claim in the letter, that for many Antiguans, outrage has become entertainment.
Wow, entertainment. That's quite a statement.
It is. It suggests people thrive on the drama, the shade, and the rumor mill. The issue itself, the actual political substance, gets lost.
It becomes a spectator sport, a sort of public shaming ritual.
Kind of. And the letter is very clear about the damage this does. It's not harmless fun.
No, it ruins reputations. It hurts families.
And every time this happens, public trust takes a hit. Trust in media, trust in government, even trust in each other. It weakens the whole fabric,
A self-inflicted wound, as the letter implies.
Definitely. So that's the initial argument.
Yeah.
The public has this appetite for ugliness, but that's not the whole story the sources tell, is it?
Not at all, because when you look at the reader comments reacting to that letter, you get a completely different perspective, a strong pushback.
Right. The comments basically say, hold on, maybe we're not the problem, or at least not the only problem.
They point the finger squarely back at the government.
They do. But before we get to that, there's also some interesting self-critique within the comments, too. Some people kind of agree with the letter's premise, but frame it differently.
How so?
Well, several comments describe this behavior, the gossip, the attacks, as just the Antiguan way, like it's almost expected.
The Antiguan way? That sounds quite cynical.
It does, and they use these really specific local phrases to explain it. Things like crabs in a barrel.
Yeah. The idea that if one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down.
Exactly. That sense of communal self-sabotage may be driven by envy or resentment. And some even mention acting on bad-minded bush.
Okay, what does that mean?
It's a local expression, basically referring to malicious intent, ill will, like actively wanting to bring someone down, maybe out of pure spite or jealousy.
So there's an acknowledgement within the comments themselves that these, let's say, less than positive cultural traits might be at play.
Yes. And another factor people admit to is speed, the digital age effect.
Wanting to be first with the news, even if it's not verified?
You got it. People say they forward first without researching. The desire to break a story, even just in a WhatsApp group, overrides checking if it's actually true.
That definitely fuels the fire. But okay, let's get to the main counter-argument from the comments, the idea that the government bears responsibility.
Right. This is a very strong theme. People are basically saying we act this way because of how we're treated.
They feel ignored or stonewalled.
Both. There are comments like, people talk because they're not treated fairly in this place, and a real sense that trust is gone because too many things hush-hush in this government.
The transparency issue, that's huge.
It's central to their argument. If the government isn't providing clear, timely information, people will fill the void themselves.
And that void often gets filled with the worst possible interpretation. Speculation runs wild.
Exactly. Someone wrote, silence breeds ugly too. That really captures it. The lack of, say, a proper press conference or clear answers about the vehicle scandal specifically.
It just left the door wide open for rumors and, well, ugliness.
It validates the gossip mill, in a way. If you don't give us facts, we'll work with what we have, which is rumors and frustration.
And this isn't just about the scandal, is it? The comments suggest a pattern.
Oh, definitely. There's a historical context. One person argues that because citizens see a history past and current governments displaying ugliness and corruption without facing consequences.
Then why should the public play nice?
Right. They feel justified to throw stones from behind the gate, as the commenter put it. It's like, if the leadership lacks accountability, why should the public show restraint? It feels like a defense mechanism born from repeated disappointment.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. But it also brings up another angle mentioned in the comments, hypocrisy.
Yes, the partisan nature of it all. Is the outrage genuine, or is it politically motivated?
Because some commenters point out that the level of fury often depends on who is being accused.
Exactly. One comment directly challenges Prime Minister Gaston Brown, suggesting he too loves ugly, and that if the shoe were on the other foot politically, he'd be leading the charge.
Implying that politicians themselves use this ugliness when it suits them.
That's the accusation. And another commenter adds that people suddenly become deep philosophers about accountability only when their favorite politician get called out.
So a lot of the noise might just be tribal politics, not genuine concern for ethics.
That's certainly what some sources suggest. It implies the outrage isn't principled, it's selective, which, further poisons the well.
It really does. It creates this cycle. Secrecy from above fuels frustration below, which then gets twisted by cultural habits and political loyalties into these nasty attacks.
And finding the actual truth in the middle of all that, almost impossible.
So let's loop back to the consequences. The original letter writer was deeply concerned about the real-world cost of this environment.
Yeah, they asked that really pointed question. How can we expect good people to step forward into public life
when they know this is waiting for them? That any hint of controversy means facing a wave of hatred and mockery, whether it's deserved or not.
It's a chilling effect.
Yeah.
Why would anyone subject themselves or their family to that kind of onslaught if they don't have to? You risk driving away competent, ethical people.
Which is terrible for the country in the long run.
Absolutely. And the path out, according to the sources, seems simple on the surface. Stick to facts, demand fairness.
Yeah. Let the investigators do their work. Let the process play out before the public trial begins.
But it's tough. Once the narrative is out there, especially online, it's incredibly hard to correct.
Damage done.
Right. And the letter poses that difficult challenge, asking if the people who spread attacks based on lies would ever be humble enough to apologize if the truth comes out differently.
Given everything we've discussed, the crabs in a barrel, the rush to forward, the partisanship and apology seems unlikely.
Highly unlikely on a mass scale, you'd think. The momentum is always towards the next scandal, the next target.
And politics is brutal. That comment about being Queen Mirror one day and a meme the next.
That really captures the speed and volatility, doesn't it? How quickly someone's reputation can be shredded in the public square, often with very little basis in fact. Minister Bird Brown becomes a symbol, almost instantly.
So pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway for you listening to this?
Well, this deep dive really highlights a fundamental tension, I think. The question, why does Antigua love ugly, isn't simple. There's a genuine, necessary desire for accountability from leaders.
Absolutely vital in a democracy.
But it seems constantly undermined by this other tendency, maybe cultural, maybe fueled by frustration, maybe partisan towards destructive, evidence-free drama.
It's like two powerful forces pulling in opposite directions.
Exactly. It's a mix of the public's hunger for scandal, sure, but also possibly a reaction to perceived government secrecy and a history of broken trust. It's not just one thing.
Which leads us to that final difficult question the sources leave us with. If government secrecy does encourage the public to fill the information gap with rumor and attack,
because they feel they have no other recourse.
then how can a society effectively demand integrity with fairness?
Yeah.
How do you hold power accountable without resorting to malice, especially when you feel the facts are being deliberately hidden?
Where's that balance point between legitimate frustration, demanding answers, and just piling on destructively?
Yep.
That's the tough one, and it's something to really think about long after this deep dive ends.